Hi, brothers and sisters. I just wanted to share some things the Lord shared with me last night. I was floating on a raft in a dream or a vision. I think it was a dream. I think I had gone back to sleep. But I was floating on a raft. It was a beautiful sunny day, a sunny Sunday morning. I was getting ready to float into shore for church as we did this morning. And we just had a great time praising and worshiping the Lord. And so in my dream, though, I was on the raft just looking up to the Lord, looking up to heaven, resting, just floating along, enjoying the sunny day. And it made me think of my 3-year-old's book, which you can tell I'm in his room right now, but he has a book that says, "On a raft, Jesus is with me, here and there, everywhere, Jesus is with me." So praise the Lord, He is with me. And then I had another dream that was about E.T., which is funny because my husband's initials are E.T., so we call him E.T. sometimes. And he was riding his bike, which my husband rides a bike, and he was riding his bike through the night sky with a full moon out, kind of like you see in the E.T. posters or in the movie. And as it went along, it became more clear that my dream was about marriage. And so I noticed in those first 2 dreams that my dream was in the day, or mine, the things that I was thinking about, and his was at night. And so I guess sometimes men and women can be night and day. And then I got a picture, or had a dream of 2 t-shirts sewn together to make one t-shirt. And the bottom t-shirt was a pink women's t-shirt that said, "Women love your husband," or "Wives love your husbands." And the top t-shirt was a black masculine man's t-shirt that said, "Men love your wives." And they were sewn together to be joined as one. And then I heard a prescription for marriage, 7 verses. So I looked up 7 verses this morning, and I'm going to share those just kind of as a prescription for marriage. The first one is from Ephesians 5:22-24, where it says, "Women, wives, submit to your husbands in everything." And I know sometimes women cringe at that verse because they know their husbands are imperfect just as they are imperfect. We're all imperfect, only Jesus was perfect. So it can be hard to know you're submitting to an imperfect person, but we trust ourselves to the Lord. So the first one was Ephesians 5:22 and 24, which goes with Ephesians 5:33 to respect your husbands. But we trust ourselves to the Lord, and He gave us that instruction in His Word. We submit to His Word, and we trust in the Lord with all our hearts. We don't lean on our own understanding, but in all our ways we acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. Now, there are special cases where it would really make women cringe to hear that verse. So I'm going to put a link in the description box below that does give some times where you would submit to your husband's welfare and the welfare of those around you versus submitting to his will. Now, in that regard, I did have another dream last night, just as an example from our marriage. I tend to be the lenient one that gives the kids cookies, and since I think I'm an older mother of a young one, maybe sometimes I act more like a grandma and give cookies, but grandmas would be a real treat to get your grandkids hooked on fruits and vegetables, just as a tip to score points with your kids, or your daughter-in-laws or son-in-laws. But anyhow, so I was dreaming that there was sugar in the body, in the system, and it was being dissolved into the system, and as it did, it became heart disease. So I looked that up this morning on my phone, and if you eat too much sugar, you're twice as likely to get heart disease. So I do need to submit to my husband in everything, even the small things that I don't understand that seem small at the time, could affect my son's health later. So Just love one another. Husbands, love your wives. Allow room for them to become all that God created them to be. Encourage them to develop all their skills and gifts and talents that God has given them. And make allowance for one another's weaknesses and illness and fatigue. And remember, God gave us all free will and free choice to make some minor mistakes and learn from our mistakes. But again, I'll put that link in the description box below. And then the last verse is Ephesians 4:32, and it's about forgiving one another, being tender-hearted towards one another, being kind to one another. Be kind to your husband as you would to a stranger. Sometimes we're kinder to strangers because we expect that unconditional love from one another, but just be kind to each other, be tender-hearted, and be forgiving. Forgive and forgive and forgive again. God bless you guys. God bless your marriages. God bless your relationships.